channel. Welcome back to Vlogmas Small Business Grant Edition, where we are doing 25 grants in 25 days. So make sure that bell is on so you do not miss any of these opportunities, and go back and look at all of the other videos that are currently in that playlist. And y'all, similar to most of the grants in this playlist, this grant is no deadline, and this opportunity is for $30,000. $30,000 of free money that you do not have to pay back, and we love free money, especially around the holidays. And on top of that, this grantor will let you apply for this grant as many times as you like, but they said, please be moderate when applying for this grant opportunity. And you can get this grant every single year. Now, you know, most grantors will say, well, if you got the money last year, you can't get it this year. It's a one-time thing. No, as long as you fit into any of their eligibility requirements, and of course, you're not asking for money for the exact same project, unless possibly you're expanding it to do something else, you are potentially eligible to walk away with $30,000. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I am Ebony, a licensed attorney out of the state of Missouri, and on this channel, we focus on grants, legal tips, and setting a foundation for your business to get you to generational wealth. Because yes, money is good, but we want our money to serve generation after generation after generation. Check out the small business grant playlist. There are several opportunities listed in there. I post no deadline grants in there. I post no business needed grants in there. I post global opportunities in there. I post industry specific grants in there. And now, y'all, we have Vlogmas in there, and I have 2 books. My first book is an ebook. It's for individuals that's just like, I want to read the information. I don't want to do too much more. Let me get on the couch and get comfortable. My second book is a workbook. It is 130 pages of content. And these books will help you think about if you get the grant, if you don't get the grant, applying for the grant, and where to find grants as well. And that workbook, y'all, it has fill in the blanks. It has quizzes. It has sample answers. It has all things to help you literally walk through the process of answering those sometimes difficult grant questions. Now, if you're on the fence and you're like, I don't know if I necessarily want to purchase the book, I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can get to the website and see some of those 5-star reviews so you can make a more informed decision about whether or not to purchase this book. But if you would like to further support the channel so I can continue to provide these resources free of charge on YouTube, come on over to the Patreon. I'm going to quickly share my screen so you can see what's in there in case you want to join. Here's the Patreon. Yes, information is locked. However, once you become a member, the information will be unlocked. I post different grant opportunities in here. I post cohorts. But as you can see, there was information about the BOI because like that's a huge thing right now. And then there's this $15,000 grant opportunity. There was a cohort in here, a $5,000 grant opportunity. But essentially, I post anything that I think will be helpful for you while you're on your entrepreneurship journey. But we ain't trying to stay over there too long because we're trying to figure out how are we going to get access to $30,000, and I can apply every year, and I can apply as many times as I want, but be moderate and not, you know, make the folks feel like you're harassing them. But also, y'all, this grantor will give you feedback if you were denied. So if you get denied, you are still eligible to apply again, and then hopefully you will use the information that they provided to support you in order for you to provide a stronger application. But before we get into all of this, y'all know, leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what type of business you have, city, state, and/or industry, because I am pulling from the comments and you could possibly see me talking about a grant in your city, state, and/or industry during Vlogmas or after, because I'm still going to be posting these grants after we do these 25 grants in 25 days. Now, this grant, y'all, okay, you can get up to $30,000, but as I always say, only ask for what you need, because grantors will know if a specific project needs the amount of money that you're asking for, and you don't want to be tossed out before they even review your application because you're asking for $30,000 to pass out some flyers, okay? But then also, your operating budget cannot be more than $350,000. So your budget has to be less than $350,000 to potentially be eligible for this grant opportunity. And of course, if we hear the word operating budget, We're talking about our nonprofit organizations because I can't do 25 grants in 25 days and not share the wealth for our nonprofit entities. Now, on top of that, y'all, this is the first grantor that I've seen where it is specifically written that you can have a fiscal agent. So listen, when you get your nonprofit, remember it's 2 steps in order to get that tax exempt status. First step, you do your documents with the Secretary of State's office. Then you have to go through the IRS in order to get that tax designation of tax exempt status. But let's say right now you have not done that, or maybe you've done it and the IRS is backed up. This grantor is saying that with a fiscal agent, and a fiscal agent is where you would go to an entity that already has their tax exempt status and you would say, hey, I really want to apply for this grant opportunity, but it needs to have a tax exempt status, which I don't have. Would you mind if I use yours? If they say yes, then you would enter into a legal agreement, which is a contract. And of course, they would get a percentage. Sometimes they might get 5%, they might get 10%, because again, they're going to be on the hook, right? Because they still have to make sure that you are compliant when you are using their tax designation in order to get access to these grants. So if you don't have tax exempt status, you're still potentially eligible for this grant opportunity if you are a nonprofit entity. And then also, there was no mention of how long you needed to be in business, but I would think that you can't, incorporate today and then ask for money tomorrow, but who knows? If they say no and then they give you that reason, they might say that you're too new of an entity, and then you can wait if that is something that you need to do. Now, specifically with this grantor, you must be immersed in community. Now, I know I talk about community a lot, but this grantor specifically states that in order for you to be eligible for their grant opportunity in multiple categories, you have to bring the people to the table, right? And the people are the individuals in the communities that are affected by the issue. So we're going to keep talking about the food desert. If you are like, I want to fix food insecurity and food deserts, you can't make decisions if the individuals in community are not at the table with you, because this grantor, they are looking for individuals that are doing more of that grassroots effort, and you are empowering the community to affect the change that is necessary. So therefore, they would assist you with putting the community garden together. They would sit there and they would be at the table where you all are brainstorming on what strategy should we utilize in order to get funding, or what strategy should we utilize in order to get the people activated to want to assist in this project. And then who is going to be the individual in community that has the most influence over the other individuals in community? So here are some of the things or categories that they are willing to assist with for this $30,000 grant opportunity. One of the things is empowerment of community. Empowerment of community, again, goes back to motivating individuals and getting them to be committed to whatever it is that the issue that you have recognized, but then also being willing to pivot. If you show up with an issue and you bring them to the table and they say, no, that's not important to the community, then you're willing to pivot with them and also guide them on that process of what it looks like to pivot. And then the second piece is the educational piece. And when they talk about education, they are asking for you to educate community on the influence that they have, because sometimes in communities that are typically unheard, and when I say unheard, there are individuals at the table having these conversations that are not directly impacted by that issue. So your role would be to educate them on the influence that they actually have over change in their community, because they have influence over their neighbors that are also experiencing the same issue that they are experiencing. They are also willing to support individuals that provide leadership and development to individuals in community, and that leadership and development involves investing time and training, again, with individuals in community that are directly impacted by the issue that you are presenting to the grantor that you want to address. And then another one is coalition building. And coalition building is actually you partnering with another entity that is aligned with what you are currently working on and that they're also inside of community. And I will say, which I've mentioned in previous videos, typically in nonprofit world, right, you are partnering with so many individuals in community in order to move the work, right? Because one organization might have a level of influence over one piece of the work, and then another entity would have influence over the other piece of the work. But then when you bring that together, now it's a full circle of influence that's going to make sure that the issue is properly addressed. Some of the things that they will not fund: they will not fund religious institutions, they will not fund any organization that is providing direct services to individuals. And they specifically gave examples of food banks and mentorship programs that are specifically designated for youth. So they literally are looking for individuals that are in community. And I'm going to keep saying this because this is important, but you do not have to already be doing this. If this is an idea that you have and you can bring the people to the table, and then you're able to submit a letter of interest along with your application, and then the grantor feels that it is aligned with their mission, vision, and value, then you will potentially walk away with that $30,000. Two key points: 1 to 2 months to hear back from the grantor to let you know if you're going to get funded, and they're going to take you through the next step. But then also, they do not fund discretionary money. So this is not unrestricted money, okay? You must use the money for the intended purpose, and you must use the money for the intended purpose communicated by the grantor. Now, y'all know, grants are definitely free money that you do not have to pay back. However, the moment that you use those funds for the purpose that was not intended by your application or was not intended by the grantor, you are now having to pay the money back. And I do not want any of us to be obligated to have to pay back $30,000 because we decided unilaterally to use the funds for something else. In this instance, I always recommend that if you submitted your application and then the grantor gets back 2 months later, and let's say you were talking about putting together a community garden, and then somehow within the 2-month period, you raise funds and put that community garden together, and now you wanted to focus on doing something else. You need to immediately communicate to the grantor, and I'm sure if it's still aligned with your being a community, you're bringing voices to the table that otherwise would not have a voice. They are saying that, yes, we want this in addition to the community garden. The grantor is more likely than not going to approve that. Now, y'all, leave that comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what type of business you got, city, state, industry, all that good jazz, so I can pour from the comments and possibly find something for you in your city, state, and or industry. But with all of that, y'all, let's look at this grant. All right, y'all, this grant opportunity is sponsored by the Ben and Jerry's Foundation. If you have a nonprofit, make sure you apply for this $30,000 grant opportunity. Now, you know what I'm gonna tell y'all. Go to the FAQs, because we've talked about all the requirements, so we don't want to do that again. And I cannot get into the application because I do not have tax exempt status, so they're not going to let me get to the next phase. So we're going to scroll down. And this is the long list of things that are not funded, so definitely pay attention to that. Specifically, they're not funding litigation, religious activities, all that good jazz. When we scroll all the way down, I'm going to open up this question where they say, before submitting a funding request, may we discuss our work with your staff to see if we are fit for your grant programs? And then this is what they tell you to look at, which is what I've been telling y'all to do half of the time. You want to look at who are they currently partnering with. So when you click on grant partners, just go through these organizations, see some of the causes that appear to be important to Ben and Jerry, and see if any of these are aligned with things that you are interested in and or things that you are currently doing in your nonprofit. And then we're going to come back here. We're going to click on the requirements, which we've looked at, but look at the application process. Carefully review the considerations, restrictions, and requirements. But then you have to do a questionnaire to make sure that you're eligible. You have to create an account, which unfortunately I'm not able to do, so we can see inside of there. And then you have to complete the application. And then you're going to participate in a conversation with them if they think that you might be a good fit. But as I've said in most videos, when you're dealing with nonprofits, you want to make sure that you have data. Data is going to be important. So you want to communicate to them how many individuals are experiencing this issue, how many individuals do you foresee that you would be able to assist with this $30,000, and then what would be the impact on those individuals, i.e. what would be the results of you assisting them during this process. And then once you submit your application and they call you back and they say, cha-ching, you have $30,000 that we're going to fund you in order for you to assist your community. You're going to come back here. We're going to celebrate because you are getting that much closer to generational wealth, which is the goal of this channel. But of course, y'all, like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out the ebook, check out the workbook, check out the Patreon, check out the small business grant playlist, check out all things to support the channel, but most importantly, to support yourself to get closer to generational wealth. But as always, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with me virtually. I want to thank you for supporting the channel, and wherever you are in the world, I hope that you are having a beautiful day, and I will see y'all next time.